not a drill.
Plunder's actually really fun.
Alright, so I'm still not a Battle Royale fan, but I have to say Modern Warfare did it pretty damn well today. I spent all of my afternoon, my evening, and into now, which is 3 AM, playing Modern Warfare's new Battle Royale and Plunder game modes. Some of you were there. I was live streaming about the first 4 hours of it, and you guys got to see me have a bit of fun with my buddy Jason, and towards the end of the stream, Nemsk showed up and played a match of Plunder with us, which was really cool. If you don't know who Nemsk is, go ahead and look up Nemsk on YouTube, or if he posts a comment on this video, I will go ahead and pin it, and you guys can go to his channel. Either way, it was a really fun live stream, and I had just a bit of fun playing it. I have some criticism, I have some thoughts, and in this video I think it'd be fun to just sort of share them. So when it comes to the Battle Royale mode, I like it. It's fine. It works for what it is. I would say that my favorite thing about this whole Warzone ordeal is the map. Verdansk as a map for a Battle Royale game, in my opinion, is perfect. I love the complexities and the height advantages and all the little rooms and closets and doors. I love that it feels like a real place, but also feels like a solid video game arena. I don't have too much to say about it because I'm not a Battle Royale player. I don't memorize the maps of PUBG and Fortnite and Blackout. I don't really study Battle Royale maps, but I know that I like Modern Warfare, at least as far as I've played. When it comes to looting, I really love how streamlined everything is. Picking up field upgrades and kill streaks and weapons and equipment just feels very streamlined, very fast, and I like that I'm not juggling different types of bandages around and all these different attachments. I'm glad that when I find a kilo, it'll have a set number of attachments on it, or no attachments on it, instead of me being like, oh, I have a kilo and a red dot and a suppressor and a foregrip. I need to attach those onto the gun. I need to keep track of my bandages and all my pieces of equipment and all the different things in my inventory bar. It's kind of exhausting for me in Battle Royale games, especially fast-paced ones where you can die very quickly. I don't want to play inventory manager. I just don't. And so while some people might describe it as boring or simplistic or cheap, I genuinely think it's streamlined. I think it's faster, and I think it gets me into the action and it more focuses on the situation around you and not how much inventory space you have, which I think is awesome. You have 100 health, and then you can add on 250 extra health in the form of armor. Once those pieces break, you can add new ones by holding Y or triangle on your controller or whatever key on your keyboard, and I like that. It works for me. I also really like the respawn system for your teammates. The whole gulag 1v1 thing, in my opinion, is kinda dumb, but it's fine, it's fun. I called it overcomplicated in my last video, but that's not really the case. It's not complicated, it just makes it feel sort of messy, like you can come back because you win a 1v1, or you can come back because your teammates buy a token. I kinda wish it was just your teammates being able to buy a token. But because you have 2 different ways to come back from the dead, and there's 150 players, I don't know how they're ever going to add 4-player squads. It's gonna be hard to team wipe people if they do add 4 players, but I do want them to add 4 players, but 4 people in one squad means that there's a very high chance that the people you kill are going to come back from the dead. And seeing how this isn't 64 people, it's not 100 people, it's 150 people, I personally feel like the waters get sort of muddied there. But that does make team wiping feel very satisfying because you know that they had multiple chances to win back their teammates, and that you took that all away from them is pretty cool, honestly. When it comes to the time to kill, I don't want to say it's bad or anything because I think it's pretty good. Without armor, you just get melted because it's Call of Duty. Weapons in Call of Duty are easy to use. Weapons like the FAL and the Odin would just absolutely destroy people at long range, and you wouldn't be able to really, survive an engagement if you were caught off guard, and the armor allows you to do that, but it's not so heavy or not so tanky that getting caught off guard is just something you run away from. You can oftentimes get killed very quickly, especially by somebody with a shotgun. Now keep in mind, in this game, when you go down, you can self-revive, get revived. If you die, you can win your 1v1 in the gulag or get brought back to life. And yet, the amount of health you have while you're down feels way too high. All of my friends had the same complaint, and that is that enemies feel like they take like 10-15 rounds when they're on the ground. They've already been down, and it needs like 10 more of your rounds. This pretty much solidifies the need to use weapons that have larger than average magazines, and it makes the time to kill annoying because breaking armor and killing the person is gonna take a good amount of ammunition, and then taking them out while they're down and they're kind of a smaller target is very frustrating. They have so much damage resistance on the ground, I don't know why. Is having self-revives, teammate revives, the gulag, and tokens not enough? Like, you also need to be able to tank 10 of my assault rifle shots at mid-range? Let me know if all my friends were just, seeing shit and it's not really that bad, but from my perspective, it took way too long to kill a downed opponent. I think it should be way faster because there's so many ways for you to get back up and come back when you're fully killed. And now I want to talk about the real star of the show. Plunder's actually really fun. I almost broke my desk doing that. Look, Plunder is exactly what I've wanted from a Battle Royale type experience. You pick your loadouts, you have respawns, open world, no gas wall closing in, multi-team fun. Like, it is an open world, multi-team, loadout using, respawn having mode, and I adore it. It's exactly what I want. It's a game mode that you can just keep dropping into hot areas, getting into gunfight after gunfight, kicking ass and taking names, jumping off buildings, blowing people up, killing yourself, why not? You can keep goofing around in these hotly contested areas just for the fun of it. Or, if you want, you can spend 30 minutes in the outskirts of the battle, doing challenges, collecting little bits of money. My buddies and I barely got into any combat through an entire game, but still ended up in second place from doing challenges, and nobody came after us. Nobody followed the anti-capitalist beacon to our location and took our money. People left us alone. And this has happened to me multiple times. You can just hang out in the outskirts, and it's sort of tense, right? Because you don't know if there's enemies lingering in buildings or in the tree line, waiting for you, watching you. Maybe they kill themselves and come back with an RPG to blow up the truck you're driving in. My buddy described it as a horror game, but I don't think that's really an over-exaggeration. You're sort of, driving along and keeping your eyes out and looking for any sort of movement. You're looking for enemies every which way, trying to pocket as much money as possible, and you can get into like second or first place. We were in first place for a while, with only getting into combat I think maybe 4 or 5 times. But you can also dive headlong into combat over and over and over again, and just have tons of action and crazy shit going on, to the point that it's almost frustrating at times. Or you can have a more tense, methodical sort of play style, and in the outskirts collecting money and doing little challenges, and still leaving the game with like 20,000 XP. Like, that's incredible. That is during double XP, but you get what I mean. It's like its own open world adventure, and because it is open world and there's so many people, the created class system comes in beautifully. Suddenly, weapons and attachments and perk combinations that you wouldn't normally use, you find yourself using because you need to adapt to a wide variety of scenarios. So interesting overkill combinations, different types of launchers and things. You really can get creative because launchers are important, because vehicles are important. Vehicles in ground war are a gimmick, other than the tanks, which of course are very powerful. But you use them to get from point A to point B. They're not that important. But in Plunder, the map is huge. You need a truck, you need ATVs, you need vehicles, and suddenly using a launcher seems like a smart idea. Huge, wide open fields with enemies on top of rooftops in the distance. The javelin comes in wonderfully. I can't wait to use it. It truly is, and I've said this so many times on the channel, and I'm so excited to be able to tell you guys this in a positive light. It's a sandbox. It's a sandbox experience. I can goof off casually, I can play sneakily and sort of stay in the outskirts, I can get right into the action and have tons of combat. It's so entertaining. It's Call of Duty on a massive scale. I really hope they add a 75 versus 75 player mode on this map. I think that would be incredible. Also, I hope they allow you to private match in it, because there's so many fun ways I can think to goof around in this world with my buddies and, have races and have really long, stupidly long range sniper battles exploring the map. I would have so much fun doing that. This has so much potential. It is so fun. Is it perfectly balanced? No, but an open world multi-team shooter isn't going to be perfectly balanced, but I do have some complaints, and I'm going to get to those right now. First of all, the hit detection and performance is a little bit off in both Battle Royale and Plunder. It was never unplayable, but I can definitely tell the tick rate is way lower than traditional multiplayer, which I know runs at 60 Hz. I'm pretty sure this is running somewhere around 15 to 25 hertz. It does not feel amazing. That is worth noting, it is worth pointing out. And when you respawn in Plunder, the fact that you respawn in on a parachute sort of equals some annoying engagements. I've killed 2 people out of a squad, and then as I'm reloading and getting everything situated, putting my armor plates on, the 2 people I killed are then parachuting in on top of me, looking for revenge. And that is pretty annoying because if I'm holding a power position, if I'm holding an area on the map that I deem worth holding, it's annoying that if I don't completely wipe a squad, they can just respawn on parachutes and get like really close to me. I've killed somebody on a rooftop and then they've respawned and landed on the same rooftop, and I'm not into that. I think that your team should only parachute in if you're wiped. If you're not wiped, it should spawn you on the ground in the outskirts of whatever region you died in, or whichever region your teammates are in. So if your team goes to the quarry and 2 of them die, they don't spawn in the air able to swoop down on whoever did the killing or get a height advantage or land somewhere more advantageous. They have to spawn on the ground in the outskirts. And to add on to that, they spawn as far away in those outskirts as humanly possible from the people that killed them, or at least as close to the teammate. But parachuting just gives the person who died so much of an advantage. So if you have $0 you're holding on to and you died, it's honestly a net benefit if it allows you to swoop up behind the enemies, land on a different rooftop, or whatever. If your team wipes, I think it should move you to a random region and have you all parachute in on top of that. And I think it should be at least 1 region away from the region you died in. So I think that's fair, because sometimes I've gotten an advantage on enemies because I died and respawned on a parachute and came back down and had a better vantage point. I've also respawned above enemies and then they've just looked up and shot me before I could even really, do anything. So that also is bad. You can already respawn back with a different loadout and you can alter things, so it's not like somebody that has a height advantage doesn't have any risk after killing somebody. The person you killed is going to spawn far away from you, and you better hope you didn't have your face sticking over the ledge and they respawn back with an AX-50. Because it's Call of Duty and having a height advantage doesn't mean you're not going to get your head blown off. But I love the fact that the objective can be played in spite of enemy players, and so if you want to just avoid conflict altogether, it's kind of possible. Or maybe you don't really care about winning, you just sort of want to be a troll, you want to lurk around in the forest with a suppressed sniper rifle picking off people trying to deposit their cash. If that's something you want to do, you can do it. It feels like GTA 5, it feels like an adventure, it feels like a sandbox, and it definitely steals the show for me, because while Battle Royale is okay, it's Battle Royale, you've seen it 100 times. I like the little things they've done with it, but Plunder really feels like its own thing. It's like Tarkov and Battlefield Hardline and GTA 5 had a really weird baby with Call of Duty, and it works, like, almost flawlessly. It is the most fun you can have with 2 of your buddies, and I really hope with Plunder they add 4-player squads, because it's not a highly competitive game mode, it's way more about goofing around in my opinion, and that's great. This honestly has become one of my new favorite game modes. I don't know why I would play Ground War after this. It is so much more mentally engaging and at the same time way more casual and chill than any other experience this game offers. Like, it's not high stakes until your buddies are carrying around hundreds of thousands of dollars, you want to deposit it, and there's people guarding the drop-off point. Like, then suddenly shit gets interesting. I look forward to like baiting enemies on drop-off points with like landmines on the road to blow up their vehicles, or my friends and I all have pilas to lock onto helicopters and stuff. I look forward to that. There is so much fun to be had, and I highly recommend you try out Plunder. And the fact that Plunder is free for everybody on PSN, Battle.net, and Xbox is crazy good. Like, it's gonna have so many players for so long. Just please, Infinity Ward, add private servers to it so that for years to come, my friends and I can come back to this really cool open world you created and goof off and play with each other and just be gay and merry together. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's gonna wrap up here now. See you when I see you. Goodbye.